Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, Rewind That. It's your girl, Miss K. If this is your first time coming across my channel, welcome. Please be sure to subscribe if you like the vibe and hit that notification bell so you know when I upload more videos like this one. Alright guys, today we're going to be going over the latest episode of Snowfall, Season 4, Episode number 7, called Through a Glass Darkly. Alright, let's get into it, guys. The episode starts off with Franklin filling Louie and Jerome in on the terrible things that happened while they were in Little Rock. So while Louie is a little on edge about a body being dropped in front of her club, Franklin assures her that everything has been taken care of and it's working out in their favor with the heat on their backs dying down, right? Next, Sissy and Franklin throw a surprise sobriety party for Alton, and the family has a good time laughing and joking. Louie and Jerome are also there, and we see that Jerome still has a little attitude. Because when Sissy spoke about how her mother would not have liked Alton, Louie says, "I don't want to know what your mom would have thought about me." And then Jerome was like, "You sure don't." And Louie caught the shade real quick, and things weren't that funny anymore, So Franklin fills in the awkward silence by having everyone toast to Alton. Next, Peaches and Franklin are on their way to a drop, and Peaches notices that they're being followed. So he pulls over and he gets out of the car and scares them off. And Franklin tells him that he wants to continue on to where they were going. This is because they already missed one drop and he didn't want to miss another one. Franklin also tells Peaches that they're most likely being followed because they want to know who the plug is, right? The people that are following them want to know who the plug is, and they think they were going to meet with the plug. Next, Leon goes back to the projects with his mind on business. But Fatback's cousin, Big Dion, gives him a hard time, okay? He tells Leon that Fatback wasn't a gangster, but he took care of the homies, unlike you. And, he gets all up in Leon's face and wants to fight him and all that stuff. But Leon tells him that he did not come there for beef. He came for business. But Big Dion says, well, beef is looking for you, So I was a little surprised about how Leon responded to Big Dion, because usually Leon be ready to fight, you know what I'm saying? But this time he kept it strictly business like he said he would. So we see later that he goes to Jerome for some advice about how to deal with an OG like Big Dion. Jerome tells Leon that OGs aren't just about the money. They want to see that you're looking to take care of the community. Then you'll gain their respect, right? Then Jerome offers to go with Leon to talk to Big Dion. And of course, Louie was against this because she says it isn't smart knowing that Leon has a target on his back. But to me, throughout this episode, you do kind of see that Louie acts like she hates Leon for some reason. Anyway, next, Alton is upset because one of the men from the shelter, John Baxter, neglected his kids to get high off crack, and he's landed himself in the hospital after Alton and Wanda found him in a frozen state. So his children will now have to go into foster care, and Alton is very unhappy about this. So he tells Sissy that he wants Franklin to walk away so they can go somewhere and start over. But Sissy wants to hear none of it, okay? She tells Alton that if he could convince Franklin to walk away, then she's down. Other than that, she's not abandoning her son again. Next, Manboy tells Khadijah that she's not thinking right by putting a bounty on Leon's head and everybody else in Leon's crew. We saw a few scenes before this that two women brought Manboy a dead body claiming it was Leon, and of course they were looking to get paid. Manboy tells his sister that he already has things in motion and he don't need her doing anything to mess it up. Plus, she out here causing anybody to get killed, and it's not right. And that is so true, guys, because that was an innocent man them girls set up and killed, and it's just wrong and sad too. Anyway, I think when Manboy says he already has things in motion, he's most likely planning to find out who Franklin's plug is before he takes Franklin and his crew out. Of course, Manboy is trying to play it smart. Next, Wanda runs into Leon in the projects and she tells him that she overheard Alton talking to an Oriental lady. She tells Leon that she can give him some helpful information if he gives her a job. And this is definitely not a good idea because working with Leon is what got her hooked on drugs in the first place. Anyway, after Leon tells Wanda to get the heck on, Big Dion walks up and Jerome introduces himself and they come to an agreement. Jerome was also able to get a few of Big Dion's soldiers out of the deal. Next, Alton decides to meet up with Irene. He tells her that he'll tell her everything he knows as long as his family is protected. And I was very surprised, guys, that he decided to talk and thought Alton would have dealt with this a little differently. But I guess Alton is completely changed and there's none of the old him left, Anyway, he goes home and tells Sissy that what he did for all of them. Next, a crackhead pulls a gun on Leon and tells him that there's a $5,000 bounty on his head, dead or alive, and she really needs the money. But the nerdy soldier comes up behind the crackhead with a gun pointed to her head and lets her know that it ain't gonna happen. So Leon tells her that if she needs something, just ask. Then he puts a few bucks in her pocket, but Uncle Jerome was like, you ain't getting nothing till we find out more information on this bounty. Next, Irene tells her ex-husband that she finally has the story she's been waiting for, the story she's been chasing after all these years. But her ex-husband is not too thrilled about it because he believes that she's charting on dangerous territory because messing with the CIA could get her hurt. But Irene, she is not trying to hear that. She sacrificed her marriage, her daughter, everybody just for a story. And I think that's just super corny. Like, what's the point of being successful and working hard if you have nobody left to share it with? It's just dumb. Next, Jerome and Leon meet up with the crew to discuss the bounty on all their heads. Of course, Louie is freaking out because not only is she scared for her life, she wants to know how they're supposed to run a business with a bounty on their heads. Then she tells them that following their dumb behinds is going to be the death of her. And I was like, Louie, you better watch your mouth, girl. Life and death is in the power of the tongue, honey. Plus, we already know that something is going to happen to Louie because we've seen it in the trailers, right? But is she going to die? I don't know. Anyway, then Sissy comes in and tells Franklin that she needs to talk to him. So now they're home and Franklin wants Alton to tell him the name of the reporter he gave the info to. But Alton refuses and Franklin pulls a gun on him, as if he's going to shoot him. Even though he doesn't shoot his father, he gun butts him when Alton tells him that he's killing them all. Then Franklin tells Alton to never call him son again and tells him to leave. And all I could think was, ain't that Sissy's house? Like, who are you to kick him out? Anyway, I love Franklin, but I ain't gonna make myself sad about the downfall that's coming to him because he's been asking for it by all the wrong choices that he's been making. I also found it strange when he told Alton that he wasn't moving to Cuba so he could be looking over his shoulder. But isn't that what you're doing now? And isn't the point of moving to Cuba so that you don't have to look over your shoulder anymore and leave all this stuff behind? Anyway, next, throughout this episode, we see that Reed traveled with Avi overseas to find out what happened to his money. When he got to the bank, a woman told him that she apologizes for the error and the $15 million has been deposited back into his account. But that wasn't good enough for Reed because he wants to get to the bottom of who's stealing from him. So he goes to a banker's house to torture him, but the banker insisted that he didn't know anything. Then the police show up with Avi and the woman from the bank, but they didn't find Reed because he escaped through a window. Meanwhile, Franklin is paging Reed, looking for him to let him know that there's trouble. Now, in the last two scenes, we see Franklin at T's apartment, and as always, she wants to know if Franklin wants to talk about the stuff that's bothering him. But Franklin tells her that he thinks they're in some real trouble. And while this is going on, we see Irene typing up the story. Now, my whole thing with this story situation is how far is it really going to go, And can it really do damage? Because if you think about it, Teddy's real name wasn't used, but they did have a picture. I know that, right? But at the same time, if the CIA can make Franklin's murder charge disappear with no court records, then surely they can make this whole paper stop from circulating, right? I mean, come on now. This is also the reason why I was surprised that Alton decided to talk to Irene, because I thought he would have played it much smarter than that. I thought his intelligence would have came into play and he would have just been like, no, girl, you don't have anything. Even though she does have some things, she really can't cash in on her threats if she really wanted Alton to talk. You know what I'm saying? So it was kind of like he should have just called her bluff at the end of the day. But anyway, guys, that was the episode. Let me know what you guys thought of this episode. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't already. And hit that notification bell so you know when I upload more videos like this one. Until next time, you guys take care and be blessed. Bye-bye.